Hi there, welcome to Cosmic Coaching with Daniel. Today I'm going to talk about public speaking. Do you experience public speaking fear? Are you terrified to get in front of an audience? Is this something you've been avoiding all your life? Or do you have to do presentations but you find all sorts of crazy coping strategies, anxious and apprehensive before your presentation? If any of these apply to you, then you may be interested in what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to be covering about 7 or 8 quick tips to overcome your fear of public speaking, and not only that, to give you some really great ways to actually feel comfortable in front of an audience. And all this stuff I'm talking about, I know from experience, because I used to hate getting in front of audience, and I now enjoy it. I thrive on it. And so these are some of the tips that I've actually used, some of the practices that have worked for me. So the first thing I want to say to you is you need to know your subject matter really well. It's going to be one of those things that at least doesn't contribute to apprehension or anxiety because you know what you're talking about. So what you want to do is, whether you're practicing with slides or without, practice saying the content of your presentation sort of in an improvised way, so you don't have to memorize it or have a script, because memorizing information is a surefire way to get tripped up during your presentations. Know the material really well. You don't have to worry about having memorized specific phrases, okay? So if you've got slides, that's helpful. You can use the slides as your guidance. If you don't have a slide, then you can have kind of a cheat sheet or cards with you to remind you of each and every subtopic of the presentation. You might have 10 or a dozen or 15 of those little cards, and you talk around those cards or around those slides. So you go through it several times until you're really comfortable from the comfort of your home. And once you can kind of flow through it, you have this feeling of confidence that you're going to be able to get through it, right? So the key is to know the material well enough on a subject that you know a lot about, in a way that you can talk extemporaneously, which means it's not totally improvised, but you're talking around your subject matter of each slide or each topic because you've practiced it enough that you kind of know what you're going to say. So you're not worried about, having that perfect phrase or series of words to start out with. Okay, so that's one tip, is to know your subject matter very well, and to practice it around the slides, around the cue cards, so that you pretty much know when you get up there how it's going to go. You're not going to kind of be surprised at how long the presentation takes, or get tripped up on not having memorized that perfect phrase to start out each topic or subtopic. The next thing is, you want to tell your audience what you're going to talk about. So you start off with a bang, you start off kind of confident, saying, here's what I'm going to talk to you about today. Within 30 to 60 seconds, you kind of outline the main topic, and then you deliver the information. That's the core, that's the body. And then finally, you conclude. You kind of repeat a quick summary of everything you've talked about, the essence of the talk. You kind of tie it up in a nice bow, and you end on a high note with confidence. One thing you want to do is warm up before your talk. You want to make sure that you've done some breathing exercises, some quick stretches, or some cardio, like 5 to 10 minute walk or jog or sprint. This gets the blood flowing, which oxygenates the brain, so you're a lot more sharp. You're quick. The brain's got some energy to it. Remember, when you're up there, if you do feel a little bit nervous as you're starting out, focus on the message, not the audience. If you feel nervous, don't tell the audience, I'm nervous. There's no need to do that. Often audiences don't know. A lot of it's in our heads, and we're hyper-focused and self-aware and sometimes self-conscious, but often the audience doesn't know if you don't tell them. So just get going, get the flow going, and before you know it, you're off and running. And if you've practiced sufficiently the particular talk or presentation, chances are it's going to go well. Practice is the key. When you're up there, there's a tendency, if there's any nervousness, to speak too fast. This is very normal for people that are new at public speaking, and I've done it myself. What you want to do is go out of your way to kind of speak slower. It might feel like you're talking in slow motion, but it's actually better to have pauses, because the audience can focus on what you're saying. Remember, you know your material really well, and there's a tendency to go a lot faster than necessary, and if you're nervous, that'll even accentuate that kind of fast talking tendency. So remember to take pauses every so often. In fact, there's something called the dramatic pause that professional public speakers use deliberately. So you want to do this kind of dramatic pause after every time you make a key point. Okay, because the silence is when the audience can kind of reset, focus on what you're saying, kind of pay attention to what's coming. So dramatic pauses are really helpful for the audience to understand what you're saying, and they also help you to pace yourself, and they also help to avoid the tendency of fast talking. So those are some basic tips. What I'm going to do in the next video is talk about conditioning. So one of the ways that I was able to overcome my fear of public speaking is I sort of reset my nervous system and condition myself by visualizing myself as a kind of seasoned public speaker. And that took some time. That took some weeks and months. So I'm going to leave that as a future topic. So let me know if you are in fact interested in that or would like to have other videos specifically around public speaking. Please comment, please let me know. I talked about know your subject matter well in advance. Do a topic, of course, that you know quite a bit about. Okay, so if you know the subject matter, that takes away quite a percentage of the fear that people often experience. Practice your material in advance, either around cue cards or slides. When you get up there, tell the audience what you're going to talk about. Very quick summary, start off with a bang, deliver the content, and then give a conclusion. Remember to do a warm-up, breathing or cardio to get the blood flowing to your brain. Remember to focus on the material, not the audience. Okay, if you're nervous, don't let them know that. Often they don't know that because you're going to be hyper self-aware. Try not to speak too fast. Use dramatic pauses. It'll help you pace yourself. And remember that conditioning is everything. Public speaking just takes practice. You're going to be a little bit hesitant, anxious, apprehensive the first few times, but as you do it more, you're going to get better at it. So the topic of a future video on public speaking is going to be a number of kind of nuances and sub-practices around just this conditioning part. Because if you work with the psychology, you work with the brain, you can actually reprogram your brain such that this fear no longer exists. And I can talk about this from personal experience. So I look forward to chatting with you about this conditioning exercise around dissolving and dissipating any and all fears and nervousness around public speaking so you can actually enjoy it, get good at it, and thrive. Thanks for listening. Feel free to subscribe, share this video. Reminder that I do coaching around a lot of different topics: empathic counseling, life coaching, and brain health consultation. So you can click on the links below to find out more about that or to register. Till then, have a great day. See you in the next video.